Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Suyin here, and today we are in a different setting. As you can see, I am actually on a work trip and I am in workout apparel. So this is from Liberty Active. Shout out to my girl Becca. She makes awesome like gym wear, things like that. And yeah, super comfortable, and check it out. It's Malaysian and it is affordable as well, and it lasts very long. So this was like from the first release, I guess. Yeah, good stuff. So today I have a new video for all of us. It's gonna be about my favorite system that I've been utilizing for managing my money. And if you have been watching me long enough, you are probably tired of me talking about it. But I want to create a purposeful video for us today, for those of us who probably have missed it. So if you don't know, I am obsessed with recommending The Barefoot Investor by Pape. Pape is Australian, and this book is a phenomenal book that everybody needs to read, regardless whether you are Australian or not. It has really impacted my money journey and how I deal with my money. Sorry, my voice will clog up because I'm still sick and it's been pretty long, but it's okay. I will get there. I will get better. And he wrote this book called The Barefoot Investor, the only money guide you'll ever need. And it's a very bold statement to make, because if it's the only money guide you'll ever need, it has to be pretty good. And I must say it is really, really good. So he covers a lot of different aspects, but what I really like from the book is the bucket system. And the bucket system is how he manages his money. So today I'm going to delve into the details of the bucket system. First, I'll start off with what Scott paints out to be his bucket system, and then I'll share a little bit about how I tweaked it, what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it, or rather what didn't work for me, so I had to make an adjustment. So first off, the bucket system is simple. Basically in life we have 3 buckets to work our money through, and first off we have our income that flows into every one of these 3 buckets, and our income normally flows into the first one, which is called the blow bucket. I will put some fancy words here. The blow bucket is generally where we use to spend our money. He actually shows us how to blow your money in a wise way and in a systematic way where you will always have money left over, well, in savings or in a fund where you can tap from. The second bucket is called the grow bucket, and this is where we grow our money to greater heights, and it is by far my favorite bucket. The third bucket is called Mojo, and that's where we really get our safety net of an emergency fund, and this is generally what we focus on first when we are starting out on our money journey. It's great to have an emergency fund and build towards it first, because that is the thing that is going to cushion us throughout all sorts of disastrous, unpredictable situations. Like in my Instagram, I shared that last year I had a health scare, which was actually, I think I'm oversharing. Basically, I had to fork out, I think it was over 500 ringgit or maybe slightly less than that for a pap smear, and it's very costly to be a woman. And if you are not saving up for these kind of things, you just need to pull money out of thin air. And that's why an emergency fund is really good, because it's not going to break the bank, because you actually have money in the bank and you don't have to borrow in order to pay your medical bills. So that's where it gets tricky. Let's get into how he manages these 3 buckets. And first off, I'm going to make a disclaimer that he uses bank accounts to manage the money flow in between these 3 buckets. And let's look into the first one. So the first one, the blow bucket, is where he really talks about these 2 major accounts, and one is called daily expenditure and the other one is called splurge. So if I am not mistaken, he allocates 60% of his income into daily expenditure, and this is a huge sum of money because we all need to live and we need to spend money in order to live and carry out our everyday lives. So he allocates 60%. That's a very, very comfortable figure, especially if you are paying for just food, utilities and things like that. But then again, there are things like mortgages, or alternative would be monthly payments for rent, or you are paying down your mortgage every month in interest, or whether it's principal payments. You could also be paying off your car from your daily expenditure account. So that's 60%. And how it works is it's like a zero-sum budget where if you only have this amount put into your account, your daily expenditure account, the moment it's finished, that's it. You don't get any more left over to use, and you don't get to borrow from other accounts within the bucket, because that is a recipe for complication. So after that, you have the splurge bucket, and the splurge bucket is super important because we as human beings crave to satisfy some of our needs, whether it's through shopping, whether it's through eating, whether it's through spending on experiences with the people we love. And if we don't splurge on ourselves, it's going to be a very difficult life. Like a lot of people who just cut out everything they love, they end up being miserable because, yeah, to deny yourself of the things that you really love will make your life quite sad. And I'm all for optimizing our expenditure, but I'm also a big advocate for spending on the things that we love in moderate amounts. So when you have a splurge account, I think he allocates 10% of income to the splurge account. We allocate that amount of money and we can only spend the amount in the account. Yeah. Next account in the blow bucket for Scott Pape is called Smile. And what Smile is an account that you are saving for a long-term goal. And whatever it is you're saving for, it's going to make you smile in the future. So that's why he named it that. You can put a vacation fund in it. You can put a gift that you want to buy yourself in it. It is what you're saving up for. I believe that is 10% as well. So we have 60, 10%, 10%. So we're left with 20%. So let's jump into the Mojo bucket, which is the third bucket. And let me tell you why. Scott Pape actually says that we should be putting 20% of our income into the emergency fund within the Mojo bucket, because this is a fund that is really going to allow us to sleep easy because we are cushioned and we are safe from anything that can come our way. Whether we lose our jobs, we are incapacitated where we cannot work in our jobs for a certain amount of time, maybe a few months, maybe a few years, at least we have savings that will tide us over through the tough times. So how he allocates it is 20% of his income every month, but he also has a start out number where he encourages us to find $2,000 or 2,000 ringgit if you're Malaysian. But shout out if you are not from Malaysia, I'm really excited to have you here on my channel as well. Start out with $2,000 and you can find it from anywhere, whether it's from your crazy savings, whether it's from a gift in money terms, or whether it's from Ang Pao. Chinese New Year is coming up soon. I'm Chinese. Happy Chinese New Year. And also birthday money, or you sell your things. That is a surefire way to get money quickly. Sell it on Carousel, sell it on eBay. There are heaps of ways to earn $2,000, right? So you start funding your emergency fund with $2,000 and then you work it up to 3 months worth of expenses, 6 months, 9 months, a year worth of expenses. And when you're really, really good at it, you can start working towards 3 months worth of income, 6 months worth of income, and you get the idea. It goes on and on, right? So that is Scott Pape's version, and that's all 100% of your income allocated. And if you're asking, hey, hang on, what about the most important bucket to you, Suyin? Where's the allocation for that? And here's the interesting part. When I was reading the book, The Barefoot Investor, I was like, okay, so how am I going to grow my money if there's no allocation for it? In Australia, they have this thing called superannuation, where they already take a portion of your gross income, and it's a compulsory thing where they put it into a superannuation fund of your choice. Sometimes you get to choose which superannuation fund you want to invest in according to the selection given to you by your employers, and that's how they grow their grow bucket. He advocates certain ways you can grow it, whether it is through selecting which super fund with very low fees, which is super important as well. The fund needs to be performing, of course, and he also teaches us how to top up our super. And I'm saying us, but I'm not Australian. I don't invest in superannuation. So if you are, do check out a book. He tells you in detail, and he is the best person to learn from in this case. Check out his book. On Audible or ebook, or just like order the book online, Book Depository, or whatever website you choose to order from. I'll leave some links down below. Okay, so in Malaysia we do have EPF, which does take out 11 or 12% of our income every month, but again, that is not enough. And I think Scott also tells you that yes, it's something to fall back on, but it is not going to be enough for us for retirement alone. So we do need to invest. So that is how Scott does his 3 bucket system, and I want to share with you how I do mine, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm back. How I deal with my bucket system is pretty straightforward. I have an older video that is talking about this, but I want to create a new video because I have a new camera and I'm still figuring out how to present and how to make things interesting for y'all. So bear with me on this, and I hope you are enjoying this video so far. So how I manage my bucket system is very similar. There is a Blow, Grow and Mojo. And Mojo, like I've said before, I've already fully funded my emergency fund, so that is now out of the way. Thank goodness, that took a while. And I will tell you about my Grow bucket because that's the most straightforward one. There's only one account within it, and that's my investment account. I allocate 50% of my income straight into my investment bucket, and this includes my main focus, the stock portfolio that I'm building. I focus mainly on Malaysian stocks, and I have 9 stocks, and it's really fun for me to manage this portfolio and earn dividends. And like I share on Instagram sometimes when I receive dividend checks, like it just like really thrills me. It really thrills me when I see that money coming in, and it's just awesome. I reinvest all my dividends back into the CDS account, which is Central Depository System. Basically, the direct CDS account allows me to purchase stocks and go for AGMs and sign up for IPOs, although I've never signed up for an IPO stock before. And so out of that investment fund, I also invest my money into Stash Away or PRS, or what else am I invested into? I think that's it. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. And if I ever decide to top up my investment in EPF, that will come from that particular fund of investments. Okay, so now the Blow bucket, which is where I've made most of my tweaks. Oh yeah, and clearly I've made tweaks in the investment or Grow bucket because yeah, a 0% allocation is not going to sit well for me. So I'm extra and put 50%. Blow bucket. Blow bucket, I still do the daily expenditure and splurge. Daily expenditure, I put it to 17% of my income, and splurge, I limit it to 11% of my income. And then for smile, I subdivide it into 3 categories. One will be for my vacation fund, so I put 10% of my income into that fund every month. And for the next one is the gift fund, and I allocate 5%. And the last one, if I've been counting correctly, is 7%. That goes to my Detonator account, which is not really a bank account, but is money floating in my investment account usually, or like my Maybank to use savers. For that Detonator, what I do is if I have something that I'm saving up for which is big, like I just signed up for a course recently, and I'm using that 7% allocation to pay off the amount I owe for that course. Or let's say if I eventually am going to start renting when I move out from my comfortable home that my parents are paying for, then I will be paying or like saving towards that with my Detonator 7%. But right now, before the course started, I was actually doubling up on my vacation account. So instead of just 10%, 17% of my income was actually being saved for future vacations, because I have another vacation coming up where I am going with my cousins and my sisters, and it's going to be a great time and it's going to cost money, so I have to save for it. If not, I'll be in big trouble. So that's that. Yeah, we have come to the end of the video. That is the bucket system. If you have taken anything away from this video, I hope it's this, where we just need a good system in order to manage our money, and it doesn't need to be too difficult, too fancy. It just needs to work well for us. And if the bucket system is not for you, I'm sure there is some other system out there. And yeah, I hope you find it, and I hope if you do, you'll share it with us, because then more people get to use it and to get really good with how they handle their money. So yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye!